Hey DramaLlama Herd, welcome back to the channel. I'm Topher and today we're diving into something a little bit sinful. That's right, it's the 7 deadly sins of Thai BL. In this video, I'm breaking down each of the 7 deadly sins: lust, wrath, envy, pride, sloth, greed, and gluttony, and choosing one character from different Thai BL series who, in my opinion, embodies each sin the most. But before that, a little bit of backstory. So this all started a few weeks ago when I was home from work and I was catching up on the anime 7 Deadly Sins. And I've always been so intrigued by the character Merlin, because from a visual standpoint, most people would assume that she was the sin of lust. But they interestingly enough made her the sin of gluttony because of her insatiable consumption of knowledge. So that got me thinking of some of my other favorite depictions of the 7 Deadly Sins in anime, which included the 7 homunculi in both the Full Metal Alchemist 2003 adaptation and the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood adaptation, and the 7 Demon Lords in Digimon. So I continued down that path and then a thought occurred to me. What BL characters would best represent the 7 Deadly Sins? Why my brain went there? I don't really know, but it did, and now we have a video. Well, a series of videos. Stay tuned for that. Now, I'll be picking one character per series of origin to keep things fair and spread the love around. And remember, just because a character represents a deadly sin doesn't mean that they're a bad person. Each of these traits is part of human nature, and sometimes it makes these characters so relatable and complex. So, are you ready to explore the more human side of Thai BL? Let's jump in and see which characters bring these sins to life. Now, before we dive into the characters, let's talk about the 7 deadly sins as a concept. What are they? Well, these aren't just random flaws. They have ancient origins tracing back to early Christian teachings, but also influenced by older Greek and Roman philosophy. The idea behind these sins is rooted in the belief that certain behaviors and emotions could lead humans away from virtue and spiritual growth, ultimately harming themselves and others. Today, the 7 deadly sins are often used less as strictly religious or moral warnings, and more as a way to explore human nature in art, literature, and media. They're seen as deeply relatable emotions or impulses that everyone experiences at some point, highlighting the complexity of human psychology. In fictional storytelling, including Thai BL, the 7 deadly sins add depth to characters by showcasing their flaws and personal struggles, making them feel more authentic and multifaceted. Lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, and pride. Traditionally, these sins were seen as moral traps, pulling us away from what's good and causing harm if we let them control us. But in today's world, we can also see them as natural aspects of human personality, parts of ourselves we all wrestle with from time to time. Our first sin is lust. Lust is the intense, often uncontrollable desire for pleasure, especially romantic or physical. This yearning can drive people to chase instant gratification, sometimes at the expense of deeper, meaningful relationships. It's considered deadly because, when unchecked, lust can cloud judgment and lead to impulsive decisions that hurt others or even ourselves. In the world of Thai BL, few characters bring this sin to life quite like Boston from Only Friends, who shows us how overpowering attraction can shape choices and complicate love. Boston is a complex character who embodies the deadly sin of lust in a way that extends beyond mere physical attraction or indulgence in sensual pleasure. His actions, desires, and emotional manipulations reveal a person driven by a deep-seated need for validation and gratification, making him one of the most compelling portrayals of lust as a multidimensional and sometimes self-destructive force. Boston also represents a modern form of lust, often associated with hookup culture where relationships are transient and commitment is avoided. While he finds temporary excitement in casual encounters, Boston's interactions reveal an underlying dissatisfaction and fear of vulnerability, reflecting the darker side of his lust. His constant pursuit of satisfaction without emotional commitment suggests an avoidance of intimacy and a fear of rejection. This makes Boston an embodiment of lust, both as consuming desire for physical pleasure and a mask to cover emotional wounds. What ultimately makes Boston such a compelling representation of lust is that he embraces his desires without apology, living by his own moral code and challenging conventional expectations of monogamy, loyalty, and emotional attachment. While this makes him a morally ambiguous character, it also humanizes him by revealing his flaws, insecurities, and complexities behind his actions. Next, we have gluttony. Gluttony is the excessive indulgence in something we desire, most often food or drink, but it can be anything we consume in excess. The danger here is that overindulgence leads us to prioritize temporary satisfaction over our own long-term well-being. It's deadly because it distracts from balance and self-control, often filling a void but never truly satisfying. Parm from Until We Meet Again represents gluttony in an emotional sense, as he craves affection and closeness, particularly in his reincarnated connection with Dean. This hunger goes beyond mere companionship. Parm constantly seeks emotional security and comfort, wanting to indulge in the warmth and love he finds with Dean as a way to fill the void left by his unresolved trauma from a past life. His previous life's pain and suffering leave him deeply unsettled, and the reincarnated memories drive him to yearn for stability and fulfillment in his present life. Parm's need to be reassured and loved becomes a form of emotional gluttony, as he's drawn to repeatedly experience the comfort and affection he finds in Dean's presence. This craving sometimes borders on dependence, as he leans on Dean to help him process the intense fears and sadness that still haunt him. While his desire for love is natural and understandable, his deep-rooted need for constant affirmation sometimes prevents him from fully establishing his own identity outside of their relationship. In Parm's case, emotional gluttony isn't about selfish excess, but rather reflects his hunger for the healing and peace he was denied in the past, showing how love and comfort can sometimes be sought as a balm for old wounds, even to the point of becoming overwhelming. Parm's gluttony may not be food-based, but if you're looking for a more traditional sense of gluttony, Parm can always tag in his bestie team, who's always ready to demolish a snack like it's an Olympic sport. Between the two of them, they cover all bases. Whether it's love or food, these two don't hold back when it comes to indulging in what makes them feel good. Now, let's talk about greed. Greed is an insatiable desire for more, whether it's wealth, power, or even love. This sin is about valuing possessions and gains above all else, which can lead to exploiting or even hurting others in the process. Greed is deadly because it pushes us to prioritize our own needs over empathy, and it blinds us to the value of what we already have. Ming from My Stand-In is our choice for greed, as he shows how an obsession with more can end up costing him what truly matters. Ming embodies the sin of greed in a multifaceted way, as his need to have control runs deep, especially in his relationships with Joe and Tong. Coming from a wealthy family, Ming's grown accustomed to easily getting what he desires, whether it's material possessions or the attention of those around him. This privilege instills in him a sense of entitlement, leading him to believe that he should always be the center of attention and that his wants should always be prioritized above all else. This mentally seeps into his relationship, particularly with Joe, as he craves being Joe's sole focus, wanting all of his emotional energy directed towards him. Ming's emotional hunger for validation from Joe often turns possessive, as he constantly seeks reassurance and strives to dominate Joe's emotional landscape. His desire to have Joe entirely to himself reveals a level of possessiveness that often borders on obsession, compelling him to act in ways that may be selfish and manipulative. Ming's actions are driven by his need for control. He often prioritizes his own feelings over Joe's needs, demonstrating how his privileged upbringing has fostered a mindset that equates love and attention with possession. But Ming's greed doesn't stop there. Despite his fixation on Joe, he simultaneously wants to keep Tong close, treating Joe almost as a backup or secondary source of affection. This aspect of Ming's greed manifests in his desire to keep both men emotionally tethered to him, as he selfishly tries to hold on to Tong while also refusing to let go of Joe. Ming's actions sometimes even veer into extremely manipulative behavior, as he's seen to keep Joe hostage, both emotionally and physically at times. Ming's desire to hoard love and attention from both Joe and Tong showcases his unwillingness to share or fully let go, prioritizing his own needs for affirmation over the well-being and independence of his partner. However, Ming's journey takes a poignant turn with Zhou's tragic death, which forces him to confront the consequences of his actions. Through this heart-wrenching loss, Ming begins to see the error of his ways, recognizing how his greed and possessiveness drove a wedge between them. In the wake of Zhou's passing, he's left with a profound sense of regret and emptiness, compelling him to spend the rest of the series seeking redemption. Our next sin, Sloth, isn't just about laziness. It's about a lack of motivation, avoiding responsibilities, or neglecting important parts of life. Sloth is dangerous because it leads to missed opportunities and prevents us from reaching our potential. Over time, it causes stagnation, which can harm not only the individual, but also those who rely on them. Zone from Why Are You represents Sloth in a unique way, as his avoidance of confronting his growing feelings for Saifa shows how inaction can sometimes be as harmful as the action we take. Zone is a fun and relatable character who embodies the sin of sloth in a distinctly emotional and psychological manner. He's often seen avoiding responsibilities and confronting difficult situations, particularly when it comes to dealing with his complicated feelings for Saifa. Zone's inclination to daydream allows him to escape into his thoughts and fictional worlds, where he feels safe from the complexities of real life. This tendency to retreat into his imagination rather than facing his feelings reflects a kind of emotional laziness that hinders his personal growth. Zone's procrastination becomes a significant barrier in his relationship with Saifa. He frequently delays having important conversations, opting instead to dwell in uncertainty and ambiguity. This avoidance is not just a simple reluctance to engage, but rather an active choice to sidestep the discomfort that comes with confronting his emotions. Zone's fear of vulnerability manifests as slothfulness, as he shies away from taking the necessary steps to communicate openly with Saifa about his feelings. This emotional inertia not only stalls their relationship, but also perpetuates his internal struggles, leaving him trapped in a cycle of inaction and frustration. Moreover, Zone's slothfulness is evident in his overall approach to life. He often seems content to just drift through his days, resisting the proactive choices that could lead to fulfillment and growth. Instead of seizing opportunities or taking initiative, he tends to just linger in his comfort zone where he can safely avoid the challenges that come with taking risks or making commitments. This passivity has significant consequences as it delays the potential for deeper intimacy and understanding with Saifa, who's more than ready to just confront their relationship head-on. Ultimately, Zone's character illustrates how sloth can manifest in emotional and relational contexts, hindering not only personal development, but also the dynamics of love and connection. His journey reveals the struggle between the desire for comfort and the need for action, highlighting the importance of facing one's feelings rather than letting them languish in the background. By learning to confront his emotions and take charge of his relationship with Saifa, Zone overcame his slothfulness, leading to personal growth and a more meaningful connection with the person he cares about most. Wrath, or intense anger, is our next sin. Wrath is often sparked by frustration or hurt, and when it takes over, it can be explosive or silently destructive. It's considered deadly because anger, if uncontrolled, leads to impulsive actions that hurt both others and ourselves, creating lasting damage in relationships and mental health. Type from Tarn Type is a prime example of wrath, with his fierce anger that often blinds him to the consequences of his actions. He shows us how powerful and sometimes destructive unchecked anger can be. Type is a hot-headed character who embodies the sin of wrath, particularly evident in the early parts of the series. His intense anger is not just a personality quirk, it's deeply rooted in his past traumas from being assaulted as a child, which left him with significant emotional scars. This trauma manifests as an overwhelming hostility towards gay people, fueling a profound sense of resentment that complicates his relationships, especially with his roommate Tarn. Type's anger becomes a lens through which he views the world, causing him to lash out at those who attempt to get close to him, including Tarn, who represents everything Type struggles with internally. Type's explosive temper and inability to control his emotions create numerous conflicts, both internal and external. His outbursts are often unpredictable and serve to alienate those around him, pushing away friends and allies at a time when he needs connection the most. Each confrontation he initiates stems from a mix of fear and hurt, making it difficult for him to distinguish between legitimate grievances and his own misdirected anger. This lack of emotional regulation often leads to misunderstandings and painful exchanges, particularly with Tarn, who's determined to break through Type's defensive barriers. Type's wrath can be seen as a defense mechanism, protecting his vulnerability by projecting a tough exterior. However, this approach ultimately backfires, as his anger not only alienates those who care for him, but also prevents him from addressing his own pain. The more he pushes others away, the more isolated he becomes, fueling a cycle of anger and loneliness. This internal struggle highlights the duality of Type's wrath. While it serves to shield him from further emotional harm, it also hinders his healing process and prevents him from forging deeper connections. As the series progresses, Type's journey reveals the destructive nature of unchecked wrath and the importance of confronting underlying issues rather than letting anger dictate his actions. Through interactions with Tarn and the gradual unpacking of his past trauma, Type begins to recognize that his anger, while a valid response to his pain, can also obstruct the path to healing and acceptance. His character arc serves as a powerful reminder of the need to address emotional wounds and seek support, illustrating how confronting one's anger is essential for personal growth and the establishment of meaningful relationships. Ultimately, Type's struggle with wrath underscores the complexities of human emotion and the necessity of vulnerability in the journey towards healing. Next up is envy, the painful feeling of wanting what others have. Envy is rooted in comparing ourselves to others, leading to resentment and dissatisfaction. This sin is deadly because it eats away at self-worth and damages relationships. Instead of focusing on what we have, envy tricks us into fixating on what we lack. Our pick for envy is Pete from Dark Blue Kiss, who grapples with feelings of jealousy that influence his relationships and self-esteem, reminding us how easy it is to let envy distort our sense of happiness. Pete is the textbook definition of the jealous boyfriend trope. He embodies the sin of envy, particularly through his jealous reactions when his boyfriend Cal interacts with others. This envy stems from deep-seated insecurities that Pete harbors regarding their relationship, making him acutely aware of any perceived threats to their bond. His envy manifests most prominently when he observes Cal's interactions with Non. Cal's decision to hide his continued tutoring sessions with Non after Pete jealously asked him to end them only compounds Pete's insecurities. This emotional turmoil causes Pete to spiral into jealousy, leading him to overreact in situations where there is no real cause for concern. Adding to Pete's insecurities is the fact that Cal isn't out to his mother or other adult characters in the series, which heightens Pete's feelings of uncertainty. While Pete has a supportive relationship with his father, who encourages him to embrace his identity and love for Cal, Cal's reluctance to come out creates a sense of imbalance in their relationship. This difference in their situations makes Pete feel vulnerable, as he worries that Cal's hesitation to fully embrace their relationship in front of others signifies a lack of commitment or confidence in their love. Pete's possessiveness is a reflection of his inner turmoil and often results in conflicts that can make him seem overly controlling. He struggles to reconcile his love for Cal with his fears of losing him, which leads him to behave in ways that are not always healthy or constructive. Rather than fostering open communication, Pete's jealousy causes misunderstandings that can threaten their relationship, pushing him to act defensively and sometimes irrationally. His reactions reveal how envy can cloud judgment, leading to assumptions that may not reflect reality. Throughout the series, Pete's journey involves significant personal growth as he learns to confront and manage his feelings of envy. He begins to understand that true love isn't about exclusivity or ownership, but about mutual respect, trust, and understanding. This realization is crucial for him as he navigates the complexities of his relationship with Cal. As Pete gradually learns to trust Cal and see the relationship from a healthier perspective, he starts transforming his envy into confidence. He learns that his worth is not diminished by Cal's interactions with others, and that their bond is strengthened by open communication and trust. In the end, Pete's evolution highlights the destructive nature of envy and the importance of self-acceptance in romantic relationships. His character arc serves as a powerful reminder that jealousy can be overcome by fostering trust and understanding between partners. By addressing his insecurities and learning to embrace the love they share without fear, Pete emerges as a more confident individual who understands that love thrives on mutual support and open dialogue. This transformation allows him to enjoy a deeper, more meaningful connection with Cal, illustrating how overcoming envy can lead to personal growth and stronger relationships. Finally, we have pride, the sin of an exaggerated sense of self-importance. Pride isn't just confidence. It's a belief that one is superior, leading to arrogance and an inability to see personal flaws. Pride is deadly because it isolates us from others, making it difficult to connect genuinely or accept help. Prapai from Love in the Air embodies pride, struggling with his own ego and the way it impacts those around him. Through his journey, we see how pride can create walls that are hard to break down. Prapai embodies the sin of pride, which is intricately woven into his confident, charismatic, and wealthy persona. He takes immense pride in his allure and the influence he has over others, often using his charm to navigate social situations and attract attention. This sense of superiority is a double-edged sword, though. While it enhances his confidence, it also fosters an attitude of entitlement, leading him to view romantic relationships as conquests rather than genuine connections. His initial pursuit of Sky reflects this mindset, as he sees winning Sky over as a challenge, almost akin to a game where his status and charm can be used as tools for conquest. As Prapai embarks on this chase, his pride fuels his determination to conquer Sky, viewing it as a test of his capabilities rather than an authentic connection with another person. This approach highlights a critical aspect of his character, the way pride can distort one's view of love and relationships. Prapai's initial interactions with Sky are marked by a sense of bravado and playfulness, but beneath this facade lies a deeper struggle. His pursuit of Sky becomes a reflection of his need to validate his own worth through the attention and affection of others, revealing how pride can often mask vulnerability. However, as Prapai genuinely falls in love with Sky, he begins to realize that true connection requires more than just charm and confidence. This realization forces him to confront his pride and reevaluate his approach to their relationship. He learns that being in love means being vulnerable and empathetic, qualities that pride often suppresses. In order to build a meaningful bond with Sky, Prapai must check his ego and allow himself to be more open and sincere. This shift represents a crucial turning point in his character arc, where he moves from seeing relationships as a game of conquest to understanding the importance of emotional intimacy and genuine compassion. Prapai's journey illustrates the complexities of pride and its potential to both empower and hinder personal connections. While his self-assuredness initially draws Sky's attention, it's his willingness to set aside that pride and approach the relationship with humility that ultimately fosters a deeper understanding between them. By embracing vulnerability and prioritizing Sky's feelings, Prapai demonstrates that true strength lies not in dominance or charm, but in the capacity to connect authentically with others. This evolution in his character highlights the transformative power of love, showcasing that letting go of pride can lead to more profound and meaningful relationships. As we wrap up our exploration of the 7 deadly sins of Thai BL, it's clear that these sins serve as more than just moral failings. They illuminate the complexities of human nature and the emotional struggles that many characters face in their journeys of love and self-discovery. From Type's wrath, born of past trauma, to Pete's envy rooted in insecurity, each character reflects the intricate dance between personal flaws and the quest for connection. These narratives remind us that while the sins may lead to conflict and heartache, they also pave the way for growth, understanding, and redemption. Characters like Ming learn to confront their greed, while Parm navigates the emotional landscape of gluttony, and Prapai discovers that true pride is found in humility and love. In the world of Thai BL, The exploration of these themes not only provides a rich tapestry of storytelling, but also resonates with our own experiences and challenges. It invites us to reflect on our flaws, embrace our vulnerabilities, and ultimately strive for deeper connections with those we love. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the 7 deadly sins of Thai BL. We hope this retrospective offered you some new insights into these beloved characters and their stories. What characters would be on your list? And more importantly, what topic do you want us to explore next? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more BL deep dives, and ring that bell so you never miss a DramaLlama update. And of course, come join us over on DramaLlama, the ultimate platform for BL fans. Whether you're looking to discuss your favorite series, discover new ones, or connect with other fans, DramaLlama is the place to be. Until next time, keep your hearts open and your minds curious. We'll see you soon.